Welcome to Christmas at Bearspaw Ranch. I'm Eleanor Burns. This is a cow moose mating call, and it's to prompt a response from the bulls. Well, I guess I won't bring in any bulls, but I hope I can bring you in to learn how to make the Mortimer moose wall hanging. He's just so cute. Well, when Marie Harper and I are done with Mortimer, I'll stitch up Cold Hands, Warm Heart. Mortimer Moose is just such a cute kind of little guy, even though the real one stands 6 feet tall and weighs 1,000 pounds. Well, Marie Harper designed this little guy. She has that artistic touch just to make him look really cute. Well, I'm going to start out with the 9 patch in the back, and then Marie is going to finish it. Well, the 9 patch is in each of the 4 corners. They start out as 1.5-inch strips. 2 colors, easy to do, red and green for Christmas. Now take 12-inch strips and sew 2 reds together with a green in the middle and press the seam in towards the green. The second set is 18 inches long, 2 greens, 1 red. Press the seams towards the green. So they're actually going in opposite directions, 1/4-inch seam allowance. Well, if you layer these right sides together, you can cut them so quickly. Okay, I just slip them in, and when you wiggle, you can literally feel the seams laying flat. When they're flat, you know they're matched together. I'm going to use this cutting tool to quickly cut 1.5-inch segments. Okay, start down here, line up the 0 along the bottom edge. I've got 0 over here, just enough to trim off the selvage. See, so I'm going to put the cutter right in the keyhole and cut away from me. Trim off that selvage edge, pull that out, get rid of it. Now I want to cut every 1.5 inches. Just cut 1.5, 3. Oh my gosh, help me. You know how it gets so hard to do 1.5. Okay, there are 4 sets. This is extra. I'm just going to pull this off, get rid of that. Now I need to have 4 more of these. So I'm just going to move that cutter over and cut once again at 1.5 inches. 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. I like this ruler because you don't have to move it along with each cut that you make. Now, these are already right sides together, ready for sewing. So I'm just going to start with this one. It is 1/4-inch seam allowance, 15 stitches to the inch. Just sew right along, and make sure those seams are all locked together, and then go to the next one, make sure. I'm just going to do 1, although you do need to do 4. I get to look first. Ooh, pretty good. All right, now I've got the 2 sewn together already. This one piece is just going to go right on here, flip it right sides together, seams lock. So line those up, get them all set, line up at the top edge. These are just such cute little 9 patches that I think that you will really enjoy making them. You know, it's interesting how the moose got his name. It came from the Algonquin Indians. Now, they called him moose, M-O-Z, moose. And in translation, it means twig eater. I want to know how a 1,000-pound moose gets so big eating twigs. There it is, looking good. Okay, now just take this one piece and you can set the seams on both sides, and then from the middle, just press right down, pressing both of those seams towards the green. Now these pieces go on the ends of a 3.5-inch by 11-inch border. I already cut an 11-inch background. That's what we're going to center the moose on. We're doing a little backwards, but these are 3.5 inches by 11 inches. You want to just sew a 9 patch on the end of each of them. I already sewed just plain borders on 2 sides. And so that the seams lock together, once you get this done, you want to press the seams in towards the border. Let me show you this. Okay, just in, and that is all going to lock together. Do two just like this. Now, these are going to go on the background, on the 11-inch background. Line them up, lock up that seam right there, and over here. Ooh, if I am lucky. Good. Now, it's interesting about where moose live. Ooh, they live in bogs. I remember one time we were riding in Alaska, driving past a bog, and we looked over right about dinner time. And in the distance, we could spot a mother moose with her little baby walking along, and we're going, oh, they're going to come over here. And sure enough, they crossed that bog, and the mother came out first. And the thing I noted the most was the smell. It was incredible. It was really powerful. I had a camera. I got so excited that I couldn't even take a picture. Well, the mother literally walked onto the highway and just stopped traffic so her baby could just continue walking across that road. Disappeared into the woods, ate more twigs, I'm sure, and they were gone. All right. Borders on all four sides from that 11-inch square. I'm just going to set that border I just added and open, press towards the border. Now I want to layer this. I'm going to get this ready for Marie. I have the backing down first, right side down, and I taped it since it's just a small backing. This is an 18-inch piece of batting on top. I'm going to center this and just pin around the outside edges so that Marie can work in the very center. I have some covers on my safety pins, and I'm using a pinning tool, just taking the pin down, coming back up, actually scratching that mat. Hey, I want to pin just around the outside edges because Marie is going to take that moose, and we're going to fuse it right in the middle of this quilted piece. Let me get this all done, and Marie can show you the next step. To help finish Mortimer Moose, I brought in my good friend, Marie Harper. Now, Marie is an artist at Quilt in a Day. You've seen her artwork and her quilts in many of our books. So, you really love moose, huh, Marie?
I do. My daughter and I went to Alaska in 1994, and I became a moose fan.
That's a funny thing to be a fan over. Anyhow, you're going to stipple this now. Yes. I have a present for you.
Thank you. I need this to get more traction with my fingers.
Okay, nice wet fingers.
Yes.
I'm going to put it right back here. If you need it, you holler.
Thank you.
All right, now you're just going to stipple around the outside.
I am, and make loops, and I find it fairly relaxing.
Oh, yeah, that's the big thing. Now we have the darning foot on the sewing machine. I dropped the feed dogs. That means that Marie can just swing it all around. Ooh, you like nice big loops. Ooh, I think you're going to need that moisture back again.
I think I will.
I could just tell. Well, she's just going around the outside edge so that we can actually put the moose in the middle. Now, the moose is an applique, and we use lightweight, non-woven fusible interfacing. And it has a smooth side and a fusible side. And I'm just tracing the moose pattern on the smooth side with this permanent marking pen. Pretty easy to do. Just follow those lines and just get that traced. And then once you have your lines traced, you want to place the fusible side to the right side of the fabric and sew on the lines with just 18 stitches to the inch. It's just a little stitch. Now these are these cute little marks here for the nose. Marie, did you know that moose do not have teeth in their upper jaws?
I had no idea.
Well, see, with these little lines that you put right here on his face, then it kind of gives the grandma look, kind of like the puckered look. That's why they have that front nose. It's so flat. Well, once you have that all sewn on the line, then you just trim away, cut a little hole in the interfacing, and there is the head. Now the antlers are mirror image, and they're also traced on fusible interfacing. I trimmed 1/8 inch away, and I want to show you a really neat trick for turning these antlers right side out. Okay, this is just a straw, Christmas color. You stick the straw right up in here, turn the fabric on the end, and then you just take the bodkin, the ballpoint on the bodkin, and you just start pushing that in there. Is this good?
Perfect.
All right, and turn it right side out. Well, Marie, you are so fast, girl. I have the head and the 2 antlers all ready to go. And you're going to just place that right in the center and do your artistic touch. You're just so good with that. So you don't like to put anything on straight on there, huh?
I don't, Elle, because I feel this moose has more personality if he has a cockeyed look.
Yep, kind of just turn him around. Okay, so now we have steam in the iron, and you're just going to put that right down on there, hot steam. So you're going on the face, getting that in place. And now you only want to press half the antler, top half and bottom half, because we have to weave all of this greenery in between. You're doing good.
And also keep the crown open.
Oh, that's right. Keep the crown open. He's going to have greenery coming right out of his crown. Oh, my gosh. So they have these teeth in the back, and that's how they get all their twigs that they eat. They just get them back in the back of their mouth and just chew away. So this might have been something they chewed, huh?
I like to start at the crown.
And so that's Ming pine greenery.
That's correct.
And how long is that piece?
This piece is about 14 inches long.
Okay, you're just weaving it through there.
I give it a little twist.
You're so artistic, Marie.
Back here.
And stick it out the other side, huh? You know, Marie, I don't know why you like moose, because they spit.
They do.
They do. They spit and they smell. All right, you have that out one half of it.
Yes.
And now you're going to take and tuck the second half in there. Good.
Give it a little curl.
And not only do they spit, but you think I blow that moose horn loud? You ought to hear them during mating season. They are really loud. You can't even sleep. I was at Sue's cabin in Montana. Man, I didn't get any rest at all. Good.
Okay, now you take a little light bulb.
And you've got wire on the end of your light bulb?
I do have wire.
Okay, how big is that light bulb?
I think it's 3/4 of an inch or an inch. They come in a package.
Okay, and so you can't, this is not an electrical light bulb. You're just...
No, it's not an electrical
Okay,
light bulb.
that's good. Just wind that around there and put in red and green or gold or whatever, huh?
Whatever, and then I add the eyes.
Oh, yes. And you kind of like put them in...
I do. I put them on a cockeyed little angle too, and I think it's much cuter that way.
That's cute. And you would sew those down.
Yes.
Now you could also sew these down.
Yes.
And then we have to remember that those 2 little slits
That's
for their
important.
nose. That is true. And then I'm going to help you out, Marie, because I'm going to go back with my walking foot and just stitch in the ditch all around the borders and into the 9 patch. And after I'm done stitching in the ditch all around there, then I'm going to add the binding, bring the binding around to the back side. I do thank you for coming. You did a great job with old Mortimer Moose.
Thank you.
Have you ever dressed your children for playing in the snow? Well, first you pull on their snowsuits, and oh my gosh, they can hardly even move. And then you get out these big fluffy gloves, you know, the kind that have the string goes around the back of their neck so they don't lose them. And then they are really unable to move. Well, these are my favorite photographs of my sons, Grant and Orion. Here's Orion dressed up in his snowsuit all out in the deep snow in Pennsylvania. And Grant, oh, they'd have so much fun playing in the snow. Oh, and then they'd come in the house, it'd be all cold. You'd sit them down, give them a cup of hot chocolate. Oh, they'd be feeling so good about themselves. Well, we're dedicating this quilt to all of those children cold in the snow. It's called Cold Hands, Warm Heart. we've got one little heart right in the center, a left glove and a right glove, and oh, of course they're connected with that rope between them. And then we did a little embellishment just to add a lot of festivity to the wall hanging. You know, you could sit down in an afternoon while they were out playing in the snow and get this done. Well, it's a technique called diagonal line sewing. And this is my heart right here. These are two 3.5 inch squares, and this one is a 3.5 inch by 6.5 inch, the red. Now, we're going to take 3.5 inch squares in the background fabric and just draw a diagonal line corner to corner. Now, the top part of the heart has 2-inch squares. You need to have 4 of them. Diagonal lines drawn on all 4. Wrong side of the diagonal line. Now I put my applique foot on so I could easily sew in that diagonal line. And I'm just going to pick up the rectangle 3 by 6 and start right here in the corner and actually line up this little mark I have on my foot. And sew on the line. I have a clear foot so I can really see what I'm doing. And I did a little marker right in the center of the line. Okay, this is the bottom of the heart. Then take the 2 3.5 inch squares, line those up in the corner, and just go ahead and sew those through. You know, it actually is easier if you can start in the middle of the square and go towards the corner. That way your machine doesn't eat all of your pieces. You know how that happens. Machines just love to eat all those pieces. Okay, there's just one little diagonal line left to sew. And now that these are all sewn, I like to just line them up in a row, get them done quickly. Take my 6 by 12 ruler, line up the 1/4 inch line on the ruler with the diagonal line, and just cut right across there. Now, I know a lot of you would save these little tips and do something with them, but I'm just going to get rid of them. You know, a lot of people do a second line of sewing, and then they can go ahead and square them all up to the same size and make a whole other project. Okay, set the seam, press these open so that the seam is behind the background. I always do that chaining. Okay, now we've got the last couple of squares. I'm going to cut these apart. This one is going to go like this. That's the bottom of the heart. Set it aside. And I've got the 2-inch squares, one on each corner. Okay, this is going to be the top of the heart right here. And this is the second top of the heart. And just sew in those diagonal lines. Well, I want to confess, I really do like moose. I was just giving Marie a hard time. I think moose are cute. But she told me the nicest story, one filled with love, of a tradition at her house at Christmas. She said it was always so hard to get her children, the children, to bed. You know, her whole family would just want to stay up on Christmas Eve, never settle down. So her mom and dad came up with a great idea. They called it a pillow gift. And whenever it was evident that children were really going to go to bed and stay in bed, they got to open their pillow gift. And that was just a wonderful way of having them all settle down for the evening and just really go into a great slumber. Well, Marie said that her mom and dad also shared their pillow gifts, and she said those were usually the most special gifts for Christmas of all. Okay, I did the diagonal line sewing again. I'm just going to trim off those pieces. Oh, save them if you must. Oops, I'm losing my cutter here, pushing too hard. Take these, get rid of them, and now once again, I'm just going to take these and press them towards the background. Set the seam, press them over like this. Now, the bottom is completely finished. And so all I have to do is just make that top. Okay, let me lay out the V, and you'll see it. And the top looks like this. It's supposed to be really some nice curves, but actually, with that diagonal line sewing, got some nice points on it. Good project for Valentine's Day, too. Okay, now, this is the point that you want to match. So take this, flip it right sides together, and I'm just going to sew straight down here. And when that is all matched and opened up, that bottom is going to fit perfectly. Well, I had to get one done ahead already. And so here it is. The heart, looking good there. You've got your seam allowance there. This is going to go right in the middle of the wall hanging. And I've got the gloves all laid out. Now they're diagonal line sewing too. This is the thumb. It's just 2-inch by 3-inch pieces. Got a 2-inch square sewed on the diagonal line. And then the same thing here. I just did 3 diagonal lines, so by the time you trim those and open those over and put on the cuff, you've got your gloves done. And so you're going to have a glove on top of the heart and on the bottom of the heart. And then these are just 2-inch lattice pieces around the outside edge. Well, the embellishment is just great fun because we took the rope, this is between the two pieces of the 2 gloves, and I just glued them in place with fabric glue. You can use any kind of embellishment, glue that in place, and your children will surely enjoy their day in the snow while you put this together. I have the perfect recipe for you for when your children come in from out playing in the snow. They're freezing, they want something warm. It's called cheeseburger soup. Well, you know how kids love to go and have a cheeseburger, and they love to have fries. Well, this has everything in one pot. You can get it done and get to your quilting. Well, I have ½ pound of turkey here because, you know, if you use turkey, ground turkey instead of ground meat, did you know that there's actually 68 grams less fat in ground turkey than in beef? That's why I really like to use ground turkey. So start out with ½ pound of ground turkey, and then you've got to slip in some vegetables for the kids. This is 3/4 cup of onion. I'm going to just dump that in here. Now this is cooking the Eleanor Burns way. I just got to get this done fast so I can get back to my machine. This is 3/4 cup of carrots. Now these are just tiny little pieces. Did I chop these carrots? No way. Teresa did them for me. And then 3/4 cup of celery. So you just get that all in one skillet and brown it. And with the ground turkey, you are not going to have much grease to drain off. But let that simmer and get really nice. And then after everything is cooked and getting soft, then you take and you add your seasoning. It's a teaspoon of parsley, a teaspoon of basil, and I think it's the basil that makes it great, and 3 cups of broth. And once you've got that all dumped in on top of the vegetables, then add 4 cups of potatoes and let everything simmer together. Well, that should take you, a couple of minutes, not long at all, and let everything simmer for about 12 minutes until the potatoes are cooked. And I already have it simmering. Look at this. Does that look good? Well, it's a thin soup right now, so we have to make it a little bit thick. So I have 4 tablespoons of butter right here. I did melt it already, and I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. So to thicken that, add 1/4 cup of flour. Oh, and get it all stirred up. This is the part that scares me. I'm always afraid that I'm going to burn the butter. Oh, and that's the worst thing. But let it go ahead and thicken. Stir that all around. Make it nice and smooth. Watch it. I actually put something underneath so I don't burn it. And then once you have your butter and your flour thickened, take 1½ cups of milk. Ooh, and add that right in there. Stir it around. And this is when I'm going, oh my gosh, I can't do this. So, works out great. Once you get that all stirred, then add that to your cheeseburger soup. This is gonna be good. Get that all mixed around. The kids come in from the snow, let them help you because it's easy to do. Now the last 2 things that you have to add is 2 cups of cheese, and once that's all melted together, Add 1/4 cup of sour cream. Stir it all together. Serve it up with a little parsley and some bread, and your kids will just love cheeseburger soup.